Hey everybody, Matt Atchity here, editor-in-chief of Rotten Tomatoes, one of the founders of What the Flick, and I am going to talk about episode 3 of Game of Thrones, season 6. So, if you haven't watched it yet, maybe don't tune in quite yet, because, we're going to talk about the episode. But if you've seen it, some of us get the East Coast feed, we've already seen it, so let's talk and tell me what you think. Tell me what you think of this episode. A lot of stuff happened in this episode. Took some notes. I don't want to spoil anything. I'm giving you this your last chance to tune out before I ruin everything, spoil the whole episode. Assuming you've seen the first episode of the season and the second one. So let's talk about what's going on. When last we saw, last chance for spoilers, right? Nobody else? Nobody else, right? Spoilers done. Spoilers done. Okay, here they come. Jon Snow back from the dead. Yeah, that was pretty interesting, right? So we start the show with Davos looking at Jon. He's pretty broken up about it, or he's pretty shocked. We see Jon pretty shocked to be alive, as I think I would be too. And I love that when Melisandre comes in, she kind of just she's like, like shocked, right? Yeah, Frank, you're right. A lot of monologue. Yeah, Richard, I see. Yeah, Neil Patrick Harris is Ned Stark. That's funny. No, I don't think it's not actually Neil Patrick Harris, but he does kind of look like him, right? Who knew Ned Stark could do magic and sing? All right, so we get Melisandre and Davos talking to Jon for a minute. She asks him what it was like. Jon's like, there's nothing. Kind of not what you want to hear in this particular episode. What do you mean there's nothing when you're dead and you're back for whatever reason? That was a big reveal that there's nothing. So what was he, blank? Is he keeping that to himself? We'll find out more. Then Davos kind of kicks her out, and they have a little bit of a chat. Says, "Look, we got you. I know that this is mad. You got to do your best, man." I like when Jon comes out, and Tormund says, Tormund hugs him, and Jon says, Tormund says he thinks you're a god, or all the wildlings. Everybody thinks you're a god. I know you're not a god. I've seen you're a little small. Which what's Tormund and Jon getting up to? Right? Maybe I was kind of waiting for the "you have nothing" Jon Snow comment. That would have been pretty funny, but we didn't get that one. We get Ed joking with Jon, who says, we get Ed saying, joking around with him and saying, "Oh yeah, well it must not be you if you're joking now." Amadon, yeah, the nothing and the fact that he came back is a little bit. That's a little odd. I don't know that it's totally contradictory, but it is a little weird. Sorry, guys. Trying to not shake my camera too much. Yeah, so it was interesting. Then we get to the boat. We see Sam and Jilly talking about how they're not, how we're not. Sorry, I'm getting messages from Amir. So Sam says Jilly can't come to Old Town, and is going to leave her with his family in Hornhill. Now that's been a little bit in the book. We've seen that in the books. This part of the story with Sam and Jilly. So we're not completely past all of the book stories. We're still getting a little bit of the Arya book material too. We go back to the cave a little bit later. We see Bran. And he's kind of having a vision of his father and Howland Reed and a few other guys taking on Arthur Dayne, trying to get into that castle to get to Lyanna, all of which has been referenced before. We see a little bit of a different take on this. We see exactly what went down at that fight. That was pretty. That was a pretty good little battle scene. Bran's a little shocked to see that his father wasn't completely honest about defeating Arthur Dayne. And thank God Howland Reed was there to, stab him in the throat. Yeah. So, but what do you guys think? While I'm going through this, I want to hear what you guys thought of this particular episode. Franco, yeah, no afterlife. Yeah, either that or maybe Jon had something and he's kind of keeping it to himself. Caleb, you're talking about would have kept going with the tower sequence. I assume you're talking about that tower where where Lyanna is being held, and the screaming is coming from. I would have seen that too. I think that we're going to get more of that later in the season. Um, yeah, so Abaddon, we're betting we see the rest of the Tower of Joy in episode 8 or 9. Yeah, I think I assume that that's what you're talking about, Tower of Joy. That's I think we're gonna get that. Yeah, Stephen. Jon Snow still knows nothing about the afterlife. Right. Um, good one there, man. All right, so we see Bran get into a bit of an argument with Max von Sydow, Ming the Merciless, which love Max von Sydow. I want to pause a minute and kind of talk about how great Max von Sydow is. Give it up for Max von Sydow. He's legendary actor. Great to see him here. Love seeing him part of this episode, and love that we're going to see more of him. You don't put an actor like that in this part without using him a bunch. And just love watching Max von Sydow. He can do so much with so little. He's really just a terrific actor. Frank Flores writes, Ned Stark seemed to feel something when his son yelled at him. What do you think about that? Yeah, that was an interesting moment, right? And Max von Sydow, the Three-Eyed Revan, calls him out on that and says, the past is already written. The ink is dry. You can't change a thing. But we got a sense that maybe it did happen. Maybe something happened there. Now, you could get into all kinds of crazy causality, time travel arguments, and then you'll go cross-eyed like they do in Austin Powers. But yeah, maybe Ned had always heard something at that point and always had turned around, and Bran had to be in the cave to make that noise to make Ned turn around. Maybe. We'll see. It's a little crazy. Mike asked, do you feel like the hanging was out of character for Jon? Mike, we'll get to that in a minute, but that's a good question. I don't know that it was out of character. I think that it was relatively... in character. I think he's the one who really listened to what his father said. If you remember in that very first episode of the show, when he makes Bran watch that execution, and Ned says that line about if you're gonna convict somebody and sentence them to death, you have to be the one doing it. And I think that we see Jon really following in his maybe father's footsteps. More on that later. Amadon, second time Bran did that. Yeah, you're right. Bran does kind of try and mess with the past there. So we'll see what's going on there. We get to Dosh Kaleen. We see Daenerys left with the widows. They basically just tell her the cows are going to decide her fate. We go to Meereen. We see Varys getting some information a little bit about who's behind the guys doing the killings, the Sons of the Harpy. It's not a big surprise to find out it's the Masters in the other cities. That's going to end up coming to a big battle later. I do love the scene where Tyrion's trying to chat with Missandei and Grey Worm. I thought that was hilarious. That was a really funny scene. Like he's different. Totally trying to get that. Like you could see he's uncomfortable. He's trying to talk. Great little moment from Peter Dinklage there. We go back to King's Landing. We see Qyburn taking over the birds. Will waiting for Khaleesi to bitch slap those other widows. I think that she's been a little bit humbled. I think we're going to see some of that. I think we're going to see her. My prediction for this is I think she's going to end up taking over all of the cows, and I think she's got to be there. But she's got to be in Dosh Kaleen to do that. I think that when all the cows get together and start discussing it, Drogon's flying around. Maybe she comes in with Drogon and burns all the cows up and says, oh yeah, you know what? Now I'm in charge. I think we could see that later in the season. Mark, were there more than 4 Watchmen that stabbed Jon? Maybe. Some of them might be dead. Well, let's see. What else? Jenna Bast asked, so is Jon a deserter? He technically died, so he's free to go. Yeah, right? Maybe his watch has ended. Like, do you have to stay? Do you have to renew your vows? That's going to be pretty cool to see. What I think is kind of going to be messed up is that he's leaving right as Sansa's on her way up there. Just missing him. Bertrand asked where are the two free dragons. No idea. No idea where those dragons are. We'll see. Hey, Omar, TJO, what's up? Yeah, so do we think Jorah and the other guy find Daenerys? I think they're going to, yeah. What's next for Jon? I think he's going to walk the earth like Kung Fu. Varys birds might still work for Varys. I think there's hints of that in the book, so we'll see. There's some hints of that we see in the very, very end of the final book. So we'll see, but it's not told. Who knows? Because they're past the areas of the book. So, I don't think the books are really there to kind of give us that much of a guide. Like those of us who read the books were in the same boat as everybody else. I think that we're seeing Jaime and Cersei mess with the council. That was an interesting scene. That's like things are going to go south really badly in King's Landing pretty soon. John and I talked about that last week. I talked about that with Ben in the first episode. So we're going to see more about that. See Arya get her daredevil training, learning to fight with a stick, blind. She gets better about that, gets her sight back, which we kind of knew was coming. Nice little scene in Winterfell with the Lord Umber. Potty mouth on that guy. Kiss his mother with that mouth? Come on, dude. Just kidding. Right? He totally knows what Ramsay's done. He's trying to get Ramsay and Lord Karstark to give him help. And who thought we were going to see Osha this week? Who thought we were going to see Rickon this week? And Shaggy Dog's dead. That's kind of sad. Because look, like when somebody's wolf dies, typically things go really bad for them. Sansa's wolf died. She's lost her way. So we'll see what's going on. Jenna asks, is Tommen going to become a religious nut? It seemed like the High Sparrow was brainwashing him. Yeah, that felt like that, right? I don't disagree with you, Jenna. That could be going on. We go back to Castle Black. We see Jon hanging those conspirators. He names Ed his Lord's commander, and basically he's like, peace out. I'm out. Yeah. Anyway, that's the quick rundown. We're going to do a full thing tomorrow, and probably pretty soon you'll see Jank. I think Jank's going to get on and do his initial reaction, and then Jank and Ben and John and I will all be doing the full thing tomorrow. So anyway, you guys, thanks for watching. Let us know your thoughts on Game of Thrones. Maybe we'll try and address them on the full review on What the Flick tomorrow. Thanks, guys, and have a good one. Also, any predictions? Who do you think? Any predictions? Any big predictions? I got none. Except that I think that Cersei's going to probably get more people killed. Right? Anyway, maybe the Valonqar is Tommen. Yeah, I don't think that's. I don't know. I don't know, Abaddon. I don't think that's really the case. You know what I want to see? I want to get more. We're seeing not enough Dinklage in this series, in this season. Like we've been really, anyone else with me? We've been really, really light on Peter Dinklage and Tyrion. He's gotten minimal coverage, and I want to see more. Franco predicts Jon takes back Winterfell. Yeah, that seems like the logical next step, right? We'll see. Anyway, you guys, my watch has ended. I'll let Jank take over in a little while. Enjoy the show, and we'll have full review tomorrow. Thanks.